I want to tell you about a man named Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl was an Austrian Jew who was captured by the German Nazi Party in 1942 and taken to a German death camp where he would lose his friends, family, and immediate relatives. Why am I telling you about Viktor Frankl? Viktor Frankl survived World War II, and he ended up becoming a world-renowned neurologist, partially due in part to what he learned in the camps. Viktor Frankl learned while he was in the camps that he actually had far more freedom than the guards that were holding him captive. What? Let me explain. You see, Viktor Frankl, while he was under the boot of the German might in the mid-1940s, realized what makes us human. He finally realized the very essence of what makes us human in the first place. And he realized that it's this. The one thing the animals don't have is that the animals don't have the ability to control their response to stimulus. What does that mean? Let me explain. Whenever something happens to you, for example, it's raining outside, for example, being brought to an internment camp, for example, being hit by someone and then them running off and leaving you in the dust, you can't control the stimulus that comes into your life. You can't control what happens to you, but what you can control is your response. We are able to take control of our response. We are response-able. We have responsibility. We have the ability to respond, and we can choose how we respond. That's what he realized, and what he ended up doing with that knowledge is he found out that the stimulus coming into his mind, into his brain, that of being in an internment camp, did not have to determine what his response was going to be. Instead, he had the ability, the uniquely human ability, to choose in between stimulus and response how he was going to handle the situation. And so, in a long stint in solitary confinement, Viktor Frankl came to realize that he actually had more freedom than the guards, because the guards had been living under the false assumption that they were stuck to do whatever their captors, the German Nazi Party, told them that they had to do. After the war, Viktor Frankl went on, again, like I said, to be a world-renowned Austrian neurologist. And you might be wondering, Jeb, why in the world are you telling me about this random neurologist? Let me explain. If you're in cryptocurrency, you probably have felt very, very strong emotions. For example, Bitcoin and Ethereum especially are doing very well this weekend. My Ethereum portfolio is higher now than it ever has been, and my Bitcoin portfolio is creeping back up there as Bitcoin continues to rally. And that can bring about a very visceral, strong emotion in us. I know you felt it. And also, on the flip side, we can have a very strong and visceral emotion of FUD whenever the market goes down. Here's the thing I want to teach you today. This is going to be a pretty short video. It's not that complicated. Whenever you have a stimulus, whether that be Bitcoin rallies or Bitcoin declines, you don't have to act on instinct. Your instinct when Bitcoin goes down is to freak out. Your instinct when Bitcoin goes up is to celebrate. Your instinct when Bitcoin goes up might be to FOMO into a trade that you didn't actually research and you weren't ready for. You know, this concept is well understood in gaming circles. I'm a gamer by childhood. I've always played a lot of games. For those of you guys who know it, I played a lot of Civilization, Stellaris. I was just playing, having a little bit of fun over the weekend, kind of relaxing after a very long week. We've worked like 80 hours this week. It's a great fun. Absolutely incredible. Best journey I've ever been on in my life. Another one, Minecraft, great game. But in League of Legends, there's a game called League of Legends. The pro community in League of Legends, they really understand this concept. What they say is that if you go around blaming your teammates, then number one, you're being a bad teammate, and you're probably not going to win by being a bad teammate, but more importantly, you're not going to be able to learn if it's always someone else's fault. For example, if I failed starting this YouTube channel, and I started blaming my dad, or blaming my mom, or blaming my parent, my school system, or blaming the government, or blaming China, or blaming Barack Obama or Bill Clinton or Trump or someone, or blaming Israel or blaming whoever, if I start blaming people, then what I do is I am giving them the authority over me. I am taking that freedom that makes us uniquely human, and I'm giving it to my captors, if you will. And that is what Viktor Frankl realized, is that he actually has more freedom than many of the guards, because he realized what made him uniquely human, and therefore no matter what the stimulus coming into him was, he was able to determine how he was going to respond because of that uniquely human attribute of freedom. So you might be wondering, Jeb, what are you saying that he had freedom? He was in a internment camp. It was probably one of the most horrible things that could have ever happened to a human being. He didn't have liberty. Let me explain. He didn't have options, but he did have freedom. Freedom is your ability to choose. That is your free will. Liberty are the things in front of you that you have to choose. It is a society's job to give you liberty so that you have the option to choose, but it is your job to exercise your free will and choose how you will make those opportunities work for you or against you. You have the ability to choose, oh, I'm going to FUD and I'm going to get freaked out, I'm going to quit and I'm going to leave the cryptocurrency market and I'm just, oh, this isn't for me, I'm not smart enough for this, oh, the whales did it, oh, the exchange did it, oh, XYZ and the third did it. You see, you can't control the stimulus, but you can control the response. You can't control if you're on an exchange and a scam wick stops you out of a trade, but you can control what you're going to learn from that and what step-by-step process you're going to put into place in the future to make sure it doesn't happen again. You can't control which way the market goes, but you can control your education in it, and that is why this is so important. Is because so many people enslave themselves to the world around them by not admitting when they made a mistake. Because to be philosophically consistent, if you won't admit when you make a mistake, then you can't admit when you have a success. Because if it wasn't your fault when you made a mistake, then how was it your fault when you were successful? If you're going to pick one, you got to pick the other. That's how it goes. That's why when people criticize me for something that I'm actually doing wrong, okay, hands up. Guys, one of our core values as a company is humility, because the only way that you can exemplify another one of our core values, being growth-oriented and continually educating and improving upon ourselves, is by being humble and admitting when we're wrong. The only way that you will ever become profitable in cryptocurrency markets is by realizing that the way you grow is by first admitting that you need to grow. And by taking that free will that makes you uniquely human and not handing it off and allowing yourself to be enslaved by someone else, but instead using it as the tool that God gave you to make the most out of your life. So that's why I brought up Viktor Frankl. That's why I'm telling you his story. And I encourage you, if you want to learn more about this subject, go read the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by, I'm blanking on his name. Stephen Covey, that's his name. Go read that book. It sold over 30 million copies over the last 30 years, and for good reason. It is one of the most read self-improvement books that was ever written. And again, it is so popular for a good reason. So make sure you go read that. Chapter 1, Be Proactive. You'll learn more about Viktor Frankl. That's where I'm getting the inspiration for this video. Guys, that is going to wrap it out for today's video. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're about to hit 100K subs. We have some really cool stuff coming up, especially coming up this week. Something amazing is going to be going on Tuesday's stream on May the 4th, so make sure you're there for that. You're not going to want to miss it. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. That is going to do it for today's video. But before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.